Hey, welcome back. Tai here. Today we're going to be building a template for your vocal chain. Kind of make the whole process for recording a little bit easier. You ain't got to start from scratch every time. Kind of give you that basis. You'll be able to just load your track, load your template, and start recording with already a kind of bass sound and go from there. Let's get into it. It's the morning, so I'm having my orange juice. Need that. I know the first time I got Pro Tools, loaded it up, I saw this screen and instantly panicked. Like, whoa, what did I just get myself into? Because when I first started, I was using Mixcraft. It's a little more user-friendly for basic and first starting out, but Pro Tools is really the way to go. Just kind of streamlines everything, you get a little better quality. But let's see here. So to start out, you want to go ahead, create some tracks. So I'm thinking you got your lead, your dubs, harmony, verse, ad-libs for your hook and your verse. Let's go ahead, we'll make 6. So 6 mono tracks. Let's see here, 2. You are going to want another single one actually to record off of. So there's another one. And then you want 3 stereo tracks. So get all these created here. Kind of was going off of how I typically do it. Let me see. Unselect. Alright, so I'm going to drag these 2 down to the bottom. Let's go through and just name everything here. So I always like my beat to be at the top. If I could type. Alright, so let's make the top one your hook. Second one for your verse. Hook ad-libs. Let's go verse, ad-lib. I can't spell very well, but you get the point. Let's go with a harmony. I mean, if you're doing some more singy stuff, probably gonna have a few of these. And then set this one up as your delay. These will be for your sends. And your reverb. And a lot of times people will make 2 delays and 2 reverbs, one for your short delay, one for your short reverb, one each for the long. Then down here, let's go ahead and call this one the vocal master. And your master. Alright, so let's go through and just kind of set this up here. So you want your beat, well, I'll go ahead and just do it like this. So yeah, mark that as your master. Well, actually, master. And that'll go out to there. And then, of course, your vocal master. I'm just kind of taking this in reverse so it makes a little more sense. You want your output, you want that to go to your master. There we go. Boom. So set that to your master. Typically, I just use my other template, so I don't technically do this every day, which is kind of the point. Makes it a lot easier. So sometimes I get a little foggy on certain things. Next step, go ahead and take this here. You got these marked as your master here. Go in here. Of course, I already got some of this stuff kind of preset out. That's your vocal master. And you know, if you need to go in and set up new bus tracks, you just go into your IO, bus tracks, new path, and you create a few new ones. I don't really need to do that at the moment, but that's how it goes, and you can just title them what you want them to be. Of course, the proper names always helps. But yeah, so your vocal master, and then basically everything else is going to go, the output is going to be set to vocal master. So go ahead and just run up through and do that real quick. Basically, the concept here is to have everything up top running straight into the vocal master, and the vocal master consolidated into the master. It's a little time consuming, but it's well worth it. Alright, well actually, no. You want your beat to be into the master. So beat into the master, everything else into the vocal master, and the vocal master into the master. So for your delays, you want to label them. Of course, I already have my buses tracked out, so of course your reverb 2. Boom. Delay. Boom. Originally, these are not going to be labeled in here. So like I said, if you go through and you create all your bus tracks and title them as they go, you're just going to want to pick a fresh bus track for each one and go up through. And then for these, on up through, no input. No input, no input. Well, yeah. Actually, I forgot to do one key step. You need one more track here to record off of. So, go ahead and go up to track, new. That'll be a mono. Go ahead and put that right under the beat. It's just where I like it to be. Call that record. So then for this one, you do want to set it as the input 1, depending on where your mic is hooked up into your interface. I always hook up into mic 1, of course. You know, if maybe you're working off a bum interface and the first one's messed up, I know with my original interface, it's kind of how it went. For some reason, I don't know what it was, but when I would hook into the first jack, I'd get some feedback. The second one seemed to be a lot more clear. But I've updated since then, and yeah, I run off the first. So basically, with that being said, you go in here and let's see, where's it at? Audio. I just pick a random beat. Convert. Done. I go ahead and just drag it up there to the top, delete this one, then of course go through, make sure it's right at -10, that way it ain't clipping or anything like that. And of course, to arm your track, you go over here, hit the little button, there you go. And then basically, to get set up, what I do on each track is I will, let me get this set up here. Typically use Auto-Tune Artist. And then Vocal Writer, just kind of keeps everything a little more contained. And then typically I would do that all the way down through. Granted, I'm not going to be using this one because I already have it created, so I don't need to go ahead and do that. You get the point. Run that all the way down through. Of course, your delay. You have a delay here. I always like to use the H delay. And I don't know what the difference technically is between the mono and the stereo, but I know with the mono, you got the ping pong, and I like to use that a lot. So, and then down here, typically, I have a bunch of reverbs, but I do really like the deverb. Typically use the mono stereo on that one too. And I always let it ride about 15%. Another thing too, to make it a little easier on setting your volume on your beat, kind of bouncing all over here, but if you're following with me and you need to pause it or anything, replicate this, take screenshots. I always have my phone out when I'm watching Wavy Wayne or Help Me Devon, things like that. Taking photos, kind of keep me in check. Go ahead and you can set your trim with this, mess around, pull that down, get it right in about -10. Before you even get recording either, you want to set your BPM, you want to set your key, and then typically is when I would knock it down to the -10 dB using the trim. But then let's see here, with your vocal master, typically I will go RC, is that REQ? It's the one I always typically use, and then run a de-esser. I'll run that into my compressor. I use the let's see. I use the H comp. What one is it that I do use? Oh yeah, the R compressor. That's the one. I fuck with that one heavy. After my compressor, I'll run that into my meta-flange. And then I'll be running that into my limiter. See. So after my R compressor, I will run that into a meta-flange. And then after that one, I'll run that into the L1 limiter. Ooh, and another thing before I forget, almost slipped my mind. You gotta set your sends up. So you wanna send everything from your reverb and your delay into your main tracks up here. And let's do the reverb first. Well, my mistake. I always like to do delay first. Delay mono. So yeah, and basically you're going to want to run those all the way down through, and how that works is this right here will control how your delay is set down here, so you're able to have it like 100% wet, but then only let so much in of it over here, so it doesn't really overpower. It just kind of gives you a little more creative control, and that's basically your setup right there. You know, just going over it one more time. You got your beat, your record, and then of course everything. I forgot to set this to my master right there. So everything runs all the way down. You can see here, and your vocal master, and your vocal master, and then your vocal master, and your master. All right, so that being said, kind of gave you a little how-to on building a template. Makes everything a little more just organized. It's easier. It's not quite as frustrating. You're not starting from scratch and having to search for that sound every time. Granted, this is not mixing. This is just your vocal template after you record and have everything down. Granted, you kind of do a little bit of mixing through the process, but then you still got to mix. And I got a whole different mixing chain that I add to my vocal chain after everything's said and after everything's recorded. Alright, so I hope that helps. Like, subscribe, share. It's Ty Ty. I'm going to be back next week with another video. If you guys have any suggestions on what you'd like to see, what you'd like to give me tips on, hit it in the comments below, and let's grow.